What's up, beautiful people? This cousin Rich. I wanted to make this video because it was really on my mind. And it's about polygyny or polygamy. Polygyny in my case. And the reason why it interested me so many times, or it really interested me, was because the whole idea of romantic love or finding the one doesn't necessarily spark my interest anymore. Things that spark my interest now is like really building as a team, as a unit. One common goal. So the whole trying to find the one, and falling head over heels and just they don't really move me. But to take a step back, growing up, my grandfather had 6 wives. Not married 6 times, but he had 6 wives. So my father had multiple, brothers and sisters from different parents, from different moms. All from the same father, but different moms. And they were all well taken care of. Granted, they were in Nigeria, they're Nigerian, but they were all taken care of, all well taken care of. Nobody struggled, nobody needed for anything. Everybody went to private schools, well off, Europe, all type of shit for school, everything. So I take a look at that. It wasn't necessarily about romance, about finding the one. It was about surviving. It was about building. Like I said, they all grew up doctors, lawyers, accountants, builders, architects, teachers, but they all were well. And it wasn't rooted in carnality. And I should say that first, that my thought on this right now is not about carnality. It's not about me sleeping with multiple women and this and that. No, it's not about none of that. Because you can do that now in 2025 and not even be responsible for people. So from my perspective, is to be responsible, is to take a protector and a provider and all these things of that sort. That's what my whole thing is. It's having a unit and a team to build upon. Corporations have it. So why do we go to these corporations every day and build their team when I can have my own team, my own unit, my own family, and we build it together for us, for our families? That's how I see it. Everybody wants a man with a plan. Well, a man in a plan, may have multiple people who's after him, in a sense. Not to sound, egotistical or anything of that sort, but if we all know a man with the plan, a man who's on his mission, a man who's about something, is going to have multiple women who are seeking him. We just know that's what it is. So in that case, if we get over the concept of ownership and say, we both like where his mind is at. I'm talking about the women from their aspect. They both like where my mind may be at. I like what his plan is, what he wants to build, where he's going. If we can get over the fact of ownership and possession, we can join his team and build for all of us. And instead of me expending my resources just for me, and me struggling or me settling with somebody who I don't necessarily want to be with, but I will be with because it's just mine. Am I willing to take that risk? Am I willing to take that chance? And from my point of view, I believe yes. I highly believe it, yes. Especially if you're a man with a plan, especially if you're on a mission that's not rooted out of carnality just because you want to sleep with multiple people. Yeah, I believe it wholeheartedly. Is it because I may be handsome or attractive or whatever the case may be? Maybe I might have more people willing to do it. But at a certain point, people are not going to do anything if you don't have a plan, if you're not about action. If you're a liar, if you're a manipulator, if you're a cheater, I don't think people are going to necessarily be on your plan or going to be, with you for so long until you use them all up, or they're tired of being used or see you're not going anywhere with this. Even from an economic standpoint, if rent is $4,000, you have 3 people in the house, you can divide that $4,000 by 3 people, and it's cheaper to live than each person paying $2,500, $3,000 for rent. You know what I'm saying? Or mortgage. We can invest in the business. We can do this with it. We can do that with it. We can save. We can go on vacation. We can do something productive with it and build more and build more and build more. Versus, me forking out $4,000 just for rent, or $3,000 just for rent, or $2,000, and you forking out $2,000 and you forking out $2,000 just because we want to be independent people, or we want to, be possessive. Those things like that just run through my mind. And it's crazy because I read a book about the economics of polygamy a while back, maybe a couple years ago. And then we're talking about the aspect of, even when you have multiple women, and now it comes to the childbearing stage, and you having kids, it's cheaper to have somebody stay at home and raise the kids versus pay for daycare. So now that's more money out the house, more money out the house, more money out the house. And now I see it, nobody wants to have community, nobody wants to have a village. Why not have the village and the community at home? That's how I see things. It's just really have the village and the community at home. And like I said, none of this is rooted out of carnality. None of this is rooted out of any of that. No sexual, nothing. All this is really about building. Anything after that is after that. But all this rooted in number one, building. Building a community, building a team. That's what it's all rooted for me, how I see it. And for women, have an emotional partner. You know, somebody who can understand you emotionally. I know a lot of times men can't really be there emotionally to support a woman. You know, we can be there as much as possible, but to emotionally support her as much as another woman can, you know, that's hard. So it's easier to have other people in the house that can, you know, tend to somebody's emotions and really be there and be soft, you know, softer than a man can. And I believe that's a healthy thing, to have a partner, a teammate. That's how I really see it. Sisters, teammates. We're all one team. We're one big happy family. That's how I see it. Like I said, it's not rooted in the carnality or anything of that sort. I know me, I'm an intellectual person. I'm an intelligent person in real life. I'm a little camera shy, so it comes out a little funny. But I know from my experiences with other partners, it's been hard for a woman to keep up or been intimidated, you know, by my mind. So it's easier, I believe, in my mind, for a partner to have a teammate or a helpmate, you know, to ease the load of having to be there, you know, fully intellectually and, you know, emotionally and all that for a person like me. Because that's a heavy weight that I've felt and I've seen a partner of mine go through. And I feel like, you know, if you had a partner, if you had a best friend that could be here with you, you know, it would be a much easier time, you know, instead of you trying to feel like you have to fill the shoes of being with me. Like I said, this is not being egotistical or anything of that sort. That's just me really knowing me and me really just looking in the mirror. So if you practicing polygamy, polygyny, anything of that sort, and you watch this video, you can share some likes, share some tips, anything of that sort. Anybody out there who's interested in anything of that sort, you know, let's talk, let's communicate. I'm gonna make more videos on this. I just need to get this out. It's a little rough, whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's Cousin Rich. I greatly do appreciate y'all for watching. Y'all be safe. Love and blessings.